Good morning from a wet and windy Snetterton, where it is finally time for the first race of the season. It's 19th of July, happy birthday Mary, and I'm here with James Lewis Barnett's Mazda 7 car for the opening round of that Ma7da Series with 750 Motor Club. The car is, we think, ready to go. We've just been round it to check tyre pressures and everything, and it's fueled and all set. The cameras are all over it, ready to record every moment of the qualifying session that's happening in just over half an hour. We're qualifying at 9 AM. It's going to be interesting out there because we have 19 cars on our race grid, our standalone race grid of just Mazda 7s, but we're sharing qualifying with Sports Specials, a series that includes Caterhams and also more mid-engined small prototype cars. So it's going to be very interesting with nearly 40 cars out there for qualifying, all of varying paces. So finding a bit of space in the short 15-minute session is going to be the key. I'm going to fire the car up now, get changed into my race kit, and go and do some motorsport. Talk to you soon.
Go and guess, just for shits and gigs.
Of Mazda?
Yeah.
High or low?
Just guess.
Fourth?
Pretty good.
Fifth? Yes!
Yeah.
Well, got back in the paddock and James asked me to guess where I'd qualified. Fifth, it turns out, on our grid of 19 cars in a soaking wet session with 40 cars out there, including the Sports Specials who aren't racing with us but qualified together. It was seriously busy, and just figuring out this circuit in this car for a start. I've never been here in this car before, and also trying to find wet lines against such a variety of different cars. It was serious work, and the lap that I did was nowhere near clean or clear. There was at least traffic or things to avoid on every lap, so to be qualified so high up the grid and know that that's nowhere near the best combination of pace that I and this car can produce, really encouraging. Race at 12 noon, you can find it on the live stream in the links. I'm chuffed to bits. We're going to go watch the video now. After nearly 9 months out, it's finally time to go racing. 12 noon, we're due to start in the first round of 750 Motor Club's Mazda 7 Series. Starting 5th on a grid that seems to have 16 cars on it, whether we lost 1 or 2 in qualifying or if people haven't been able to make it to the meeting, I'm not sure. I said 19 earlier. We've got 16 competitors, including a former international champion in the shape of Scott Mansell. So he's 2 slots up ahead of me on the grid. It's going to be very interesting to see how it is starting this car uphill. It doesn't idle very well right now, we need to sort that out, and there's no handbrake, so we'll see how we go, getting off the grid, and dealing with cold tyres into turn 1 with so many cars right around me. I can't wait.
Through of the grid then, pole position is going to be number 37 Ben Powney, he's in an orange car, and alongside him number 71 Jonathan Listeter. There they are, the 2 cars on the front row of the grid. Second row 23 Scott Mansell and 56 Daniel Sivens. Third row 36 Sam McKee in James Lewis Barnett's car, and 35 David Winter. Fourth row 34. So we're watching for the race to get underway. The 30-second board goes up, and we are going to have a 15-minute race for the Yokohama Mazda 7 Series. 5-second board has been shown to the red light, about to go on. It goes out. now away they go then, pretty even start. Not such a great start from the cars on the second row of the grid, I think. And Lee Dolby from the back gets a reasonable getaway. He would have been disappointed to be way back there, but it's Jonathan Lissitter then from the outside of the front row that's gone into the lead from Ben Powney in second place as they make their way around Richie's corner for the first time up towards the hairpin at Wilson. And it's Scott Mansell in third place trying to go around the outside of Ben Powney there. Then you've got 35 car of Dave Winter in fourth position. Mansell leading, Jonathan Lissitter second, David Winter third, Oliver Batten fourth, and then the battle for fifth is just sort of coming over the horizon, isn't it? Who's ahead in that one? It's pretty much side by side. It looks like Daniel Sibbons and Sam McKee are doing battle, but it's Sibbons, I think, in the 56th car that's going to be ahead. Yes, it is, as they turn their way into Brundle. So Sam McKee in sixth place, and no doubt enjoying something a bit different than what he's used to.
Absolutely, I'm sure we'll be able to hear about it shortly after on social media. Out of the bomb hole and down towards Coram they come. Is McKee going to challenge here? A big move into Coram curve. I've seen way more overtaken here at Coram this weekend than I've ever seen before. McKee goes back through. Great move.
Yeah, he does. So back up to fifth position at the expense of Dan Sibbons. So those are the two battling for fifth and sixth.
They've got away from those behind now too, haven't they?
They are really... Results then, the winner, there we are, number 23, Scott Mansell, from second place, number 71, Jonathan Lissitter, third place to number 35, David Winter, fourth to number 8, Oliver Batten, fifth to number 36, Sam McKee, sixth to number 56, Daniel Sibbons, seventh to number...
Well, I managed to convert a fifth place start in race 1 into a fifth place finish. That makes it sound a lot less dramatic than it was though. I realised on the way to the assembly area, I've never actually launched this car before to try and get it off the standing start on the grid. And after a couple little practice goes on the way up, I thought I had it figured, but I fluffed it. Trying to hold the car with my big toe on the brake pedal on the slightly uphill starting line here at Snetterton and then give it a lot of revs with the right. It was too much. I got a load of wheel spin and I got fairly swamped at the start with 3 or 4 cars going past. What ensued was just brilliant racing, really good fun battles with people ahead and behind. So I got to do quite a bit of offensive moves on guys ahead, and also a lot of defending cars that are slipstreaming really effectively. These cars are quite good power to weight ratio but very high drag, so it means another car tucked in behind you can get a massive advantage down the straights and then make a move on you at the end. brilliant racing. I had a really good battle throughout with the number 56 car of Daniel Sibbons, is it? Yes. And ultimately came out on top that battle for 5th place. I just about sealed with a lap or two to go. And saw the 4th place car ahead with a problem and some front wings falling off as if he'd had a contact. And I think a couple more laps we might have got to him, but sadly not to be. 5th place we settled for. But given that the aim coming into the weekend was maybe to try and get a fantastic result of a top 5 and feel like it was just about within reach, to do it on the first outing is brilliant.
But it's Snetterton that leads as they turn their way into Brundle. Winter second, then it's Robinson who's come through into 3rd place. We're going to start from him. Then it's Sam McKee and the rest. There's 27 Danny Andrew, who is ahead of David Mason and Matt Rowe as they turn right towards the Coram curve now. And yeah, it's a bit spread, isn't it, there at the front of the grid. Nobody close enough to challenge in the top couple, and Tom Robinson locks up. He's going off the road, so that might give Sam McKee a chance to come back at him, and everybody chases one another back to the line to complete the first lap, with Snetterton and Winter getting away.
Yeah, I imagine there's a few drivers that have been frantically getting ballast into the cars to make sure that they're above the minimum weight for this second race of the day. There's Sam McKee and Tom Robinson going wheel to wheel. Sam McKee around the outside of Robinson, a bit too wide though through Rich's corner. That might allow David Jones through on the inside as well. There's Snetterton leading, Winter in 2nd place, a bit of a gap back to 3rd, which is everybody else basically. Headed at the moment by Tom Robinson. Yes, David Jones did get through into 4th position. Sam McKee 5th, Daniel Sibbons is 6th, but he now is under pressure from Oliver Batten, who's eventually classified 3rd in the first race.
Okay, he's side by side at the moment. He's got some progress to make to get a similar result. So Snetterton and Winter, that looks like a good battle shaking up between them, and then it's the rest battling for 3rd. Robinson ahead of a side by side. David Jones going well there, round the outside to try and grab 4th away from Sam McKee, but McKee hanging it on around the outside of Nelson. Then you've got Daniel Sibbons and Oliver Batten in there too. That's 4 cars almost in the space where only 1 car fits in some categories. Absolutely brilliant. This is great stuff here.
Yeah, superb racing from the Ma7da Series, the 1.8 litre Mazda engine and gearbox being put into these sort of low-cost chassis. Many have been evolved from the cross-flow cars. We've got 1 or 2 cars off. Daniel Sibbons is one of them, and Oliver Batten spins on the grass on the way out of Murray's corner, gets it pointing more or less in the right direction again, so good marks for artistic merit for Oliver Batten, who rejoins the race and puts his hand in the air saying, what on earth was all that about?
Very epic save, to be honest.
I enjoyed that.
Not quite sure what was going on.
Ma7da Series and David Mason here down the inside of Sam McKee to take 5th place away.
Indeed, and that's allowing Robinson and Jones to get away in front of them, isn't it? Sam McKee looks back to the outside. Must feel a lot more open in one of these compared to the BMW that he regularly races. He'll be back out with us next month at Silverstone. So he gets back into tow of David Mason and looks to re-challenge. Pops out the tow on the inside line, going up towards Brundle, and McKee's back into P5. And behind Danny Andrew, he's side by side, isn't he, with Daniel Sibbons. Andrew, I think, up the inside, try and grab that position, but it's 5th there for Sam McKee, 36, and a 43, David Mason. Then it's Andrew, who is now back ahead of Daniel Sibbons. Charles Boniface going better this time, he's in the top 10.
So Andrew now is the one making up some ground, up into 5th position.
This is a bit more than we expected from Ma7da Series, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. was very entertaining racing. Actually, up front, Lister went separated by 1.2 seconds. Lister doing the best lap of the race on that last lap of 1:25.74. The best lap of the earlier race was 1:25.13 by Lister.
Great livery of David Mason's car, isn't it? Same livery as on the...
Oh, Charles Boniface has just gone past very slowly. That's the pit lane. Yeah, so I think he's going to go into retirement. He's turned into the part firm, I think. So he was running well inside the top 10, but the problems have struck.
Lost Lee Dolby too. He's gone missing.
Looks like he's about halfway through this race now.
Now it's Danny Andrew catching David Jones at 4th, I wonder. Yeah, I think he is creeping up to him. Sam McKee and Daniel Simmons, they're back together. They were battling earlier, weren't they? They've been passed by Danny Andrew. It'll be interesting, I think, to watch Andrew's lap time to see if he is able to close in on David Jones. Now he's ahead of behind, but of course now the slipstream may well bring Sam McKee back into it, and he's right on the tail of Danny Andrew once more as they turn into the second half of this race.
Yeah, so it's Danny Andrew then, the blue car, very smartly turned out, sort of similar livery, isn't it, to the car that he's racing in towards 1000, the Mattel.
I think it looks really good on this car.
It does. He's got Sam McKee then about to try and get through though, pulling alongside on the way up the centre straight. They're almost nose to nose as they cross the line that time. McKee going to be on the outside line though for the right-hand ridges. Goes on. Sibbons right there as well, and then Stephen Kimber in 8th place. So Mason going backwards.
Late on the brakes now, Danny Andrew. A bit wide maybe. 1.5 seconds away from David Jones. Now he can catch Jones. I suggest he might bring McKee and Simmons, potentially Kimber with him too. Certainly Sam McKee is sitting right there in the draft. He was until he popped out looking up the inside. They start battling, they won't catch David Jones. McKee is keen to come up the inside. He's alongside, they're overlapping. Round the outside for McKee, is sideways, and look at Daniel Simmons, he's buying into it now. He's going to gain one, he's ahead of Sam McKee, so that's a place lost in the end for McKee as he tried to gain one.
Yeah, so Danny Andrew there, car parts UK car, just ahead of 56 Simmons now, and Sam McKee, who's done quite a bit of racing over the last 2 or 3 years, but not necessarily anything like this before. Racing in his BMW, mostly in Road Sports and Cabangero races. But this is something a bit different, and now he's watching the 2 cars ahead of him go side by side, Danny Andrew and Daniel Simmons for 5th and 6th.
I think it's his first sprint race, isn't it, which is different to the longer races. Here comes 18, Stephen Kimber up on the inside of McKee. Can't make that work quite, so they stay in the same order. Again, this battle is allowing David Jones just to eke away again. The gap's back out to over 2 seconds from 4th to 5th. They'll find 3rd now of the motor race.
Just a quick run down the order. 71, Jonathan Lister leading from 35, David Winter. 12, Tom Robinson. Oh, there's contact there, and that's Daniel Sibbons just collecting the back of Danny Andrews' car, and he has, I'm afraid, broken his car and it's come to a halt just on the exit of Chapman Curve. That all happened.
I don't know if Danny Andrew might have missed a gear on the exit of the corner. He was slow off the corner, and that just pulled Simmons out, and it's broken the front of his car, unfortunately.
Andrew's still going, but he's been passed by Sam McKee now. There was some damage on the back of Andrew's car as well as a result of that. So to carry on the rundown of the order is now Tom Robinson, number 12.
Up to the back of David Jones. That was what we said about a couple of second gap at 1 point.
Yeah, whereas 1.2 seconds at the start of the lap. So Sam McKee here has got a second win. It is his best lap on the previous lap of 1.646, which is was about 1.6 better. And he's gone ahead now, hasn't he? They're side by side. Sam McKee has gone through into 4th position there. So number 36 goes through. He is about 5 seconds behind Tom Robinson though, so I don't think he's got time to close that up in the last 2 or 3, well, a couple of laps of this race.
Was that a slower lap for Jones or a quick lap for McKee?
Both, I think, is the answer.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Sorry, there you go.
Really consistent. I was giving a mirror. Then I'm thinking,
You were consistently the same distance away. It's really annoying because I lost a lot of ground at the start because the brake pedal was really long.
Yeah.
And I kept locking up. But yeah, that was fun. I
that was
enjoyed
good
that.
fun, yeah. You kept me very honest. I thought I'd let off because I wasn't ever going to catch these guys.
No,
And
no,
I could
it was.
see you constantly.
You
there.
paced me perfectly. That was a really good drive.
Yeah.
Nice work. Congrats on the podium.
Mum says, how can you not know what to say? Fourth. Wow, that was really, really hectic. Due to some issues with weights of some of the other cars, some cars were underweight after the last race. The grid was emptier than expected, so I finished fifth, started third on the grid, and the start was so busy again. Just cars on top of each other. It was fantastic, to be honest with you. But we made a little bit of mistake in the prep of our car. The brake pedal was really long. I think we must have bored the brake fluid a little bit after the last race, so it's very hard to stop the car consistently, and it just left me a bit lacking in the braking zones, and I got taken by a few other cars, but fought my way back up to sixth place. And then the car I've been battling with, the number 56 Dan's car, unfortunately ran in the back of a competitor ahead and went off, netting me fifth, and I promptly took the guy ahead and made it fourth. I then had a few laps of clean air to try and just catch up as far as possible to the guy ahead, but actually he was rock steady, really consistent, and stayed a couple hundred yards ahead. I couldn't do it. He said to me afterwards he could see in his mirrors me in the same place every lap. He's like, oh okay, no, he's got me, he's got the pace, I can't catch him today. So a fourth place, it actually feels like a podium might have been possible, but that we came here hoping to get a top five by the end of the meeting, and we're coming away with two, and a car which is we're about to bleed the brakes so we don't forget, but unscathed after quite a lot of people went off and a lot of damage in some cases, is just a brilliant result. I'm so pleased. Thank you, James, for letting me out in your pride and joy. It's bloody good, this, isn't it? Should we do it again next month?
I will be.
Cool. Sounds fun.